All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Behind the Visual with Mark Hansen, which is me. And this is the podcast where I interview all those people responsible for putting together and creating the images and videos you see out in your world every single day. And today, my guest is Pebble Go. She is the VP Creative Director at BBDO in New York City. We talk a little bit about all kinds of stuff. We talk about why she's getting her MBA right now and how that all got started, how she went from living and growing up in Malaysia to working in New York City at one of the biggest agencies in the world. She talks about winning the Young Creative Award in Malaysia during her first year at BBDO and how that whole thing has come about. We talk a little bit about shooting a Dove ice cream commercial in South Africa, shooting for Snickers, shooting a global brand relaunch for Johnson's Baby, and what that shoot was like with a ton of babies to shoot, and just her favorite place to vacation. This woman has been all over the world, the multiple languages she speaks. So it's a really interesting, great podcast. I look forward to hearing what you guys think about it. So take a listen.
It's my first podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've done like conferences before, like for I just did one for Lithuania, so it was like recording with visuals. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, but this
It's
yeah.
the first podcast. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Hey, first of all, tell me about this whole. You said you had COVID back in what, August, September, or something?
September.
How was that?
I didn't get it too bad. Fortunately, my father-in-law passed away from it. Yeah. So my husband and I, we traveled to see my father-in-law in Duluth, Minnesota for his 80th birthday. He really wanted to see his just immediate family.
Right.
And we were outside most of the time. The whole time we were outside, just us, like a little pod. But they did stay in a resort, and there were people, having weddings and stuff there. We wore masks wherever we went, except of course we were eating between immediate family. His mom got tested first. He was still on the way back to New York when his mom got tested positive, because over in Minnesota it's like a 24-hour turnaround.
Oh, that's good at least.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah. In New York it was like 1 week or 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Because at that time the numbers were down in New York already.
Yeah.
So all the resources had to go to places where they really needed testing straight away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have any symptoms?
I lost my sense of smell.
Well, that gotta be weird.
It's so weird. You think like your taste buds usually do the tasting, but it's not true. It's your smell. Like without your smell, nothing tastes good. You can taste salty and spicy, but that's it. Like
really?
Yeah. So weird.
God, how long did it last?
A couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just took like over-the-counter medicine, like NyQuil and Dayquil and zinc. It's just like having a really bad flu.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
and there's nothing they can do because you don't need to be intubated. They were like, oh, if you can't breathe, then go to the hospital.
Right.
But it's like, when is the point where you really like realize, oh, I actually cannot breathe? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, but it was fine.
Yeah. So if you have just the anxiety, where you feel like you have anxiety, you're probably okay. If you get to the point where you're really struggling, then maybe.
Yeah, and I was like texting my doctor friends, like, how, should I call them now? They were like, no.
It's good having doctor friends, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple where you just call them and go, hey, this is what's happening with me, and they go, you're fine, or okay, come in and see me and I'll squeeze you in or whatever. So yeah. I like having doctor friends.
Yeah. Where are you? Are you in?
I'm in Charlotte. I'm in North Carolina right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I kind of work in New York and LA and Miami as a local, but I live in North Carolina because I have 2 daughters, and we had thought about moving up to New York right after the first one was born. I was like, it's not worth the amount of money it would take, and have to live in the city, or even over in New Jersey or someplace would just be crazy. Yeah. So we stayed down here. Are you in Manhattan?
Yeah. Yes, but we have a house out in the North Fork, so
Okay.
that was where I was for a while. Yeah, we're gonna go back like in December.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do miss the city though. They say the city is dead, right? There was a couple of articles talking about that, but the city is not dead.
I've heard that. I mean, I've been hearing that the city is dead or dying for years now. It's kind of like I've been hearing that South Beach, Miami is dead, that nobody's shooting in South Beach anymore. I've been hearing that for 15 years, I think, or more. Nobody's shooting in South Beach. South Beach is dead. But then every time I talk to somebody during the season, like, oh yeah, we're going to be down in South Beach shooting. I'm like, okay,
Right.
yeah. So, well, tell me a little bit about you. I know that you have been everywhere, it seems like, for BBDO. You speak, how many different languages do you speak?
I speak English, Bahasa Malaysia, which is the Malaysian national language, Mandarin and Cantonese, and like two more dialects, like Chinese
Right.
dialects. Yeah,
Wow.
but it's most Malaysians, they speak those languages. It's not, you know, it's just locally. Yeah, everyone needs to speak at least three languages. It's
Well, that's
just such a
good. Yeah.
melting pot. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's impressive to me, though. I mean, I'm doing English and a little bit of French and a little bit of Spanish, and that's about it. I was on set with one of my assistants, and his family's from Mexico, and he's Mexican, and he was talking to one of the hair and makeup guy, and they were speaking Spanish, and I was only picking up like a word or two, and so I stopped. I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And he goes, "Don't you worry about it, man. Unless you hear the word gringo, you're fine. Don't you worry. We're not talking about you." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." So tell me, when you were growing up, like, how was it growing up? Did you want to be something creative? Did you want to be something else? How did you end up getting into advertising?
I was very lucky to have Asian parents that wasn't, conventional in like you got to be a doctor. Well, they probably knew from my grades I couldn't be a doctor or like an engineer. They're like,
You never
she's
know. My
bad
dad
in
kept pushing me to be a lawyer, and maybe he just didn't see my grades. I don't know.
right. Yeah, math wasn't my strong suit. And both my parents are creative people. My mom is an interior designer and my dad's like a general contractor, but they study architecture.
Okay,
So yeah, and my dad like did some graphic design too when he was right out of school. So was very lucky to have Asian parents that was like, oh, yeah, do some art stuff.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So and at the time, like design was I did graphic design as my major. Yeah. There were a lot of advertising agencies in Malaysia, and they were doing good work already, so it wasn't a hard decision to make.
That's good. You went to university in Australia and Germany. Is that right?
No, I did. It's called a twinning program where you
Okay.
do like 2 years in Malaysia and then your last in Australia. And
Okay.
I'm still doing my MBA right now
I saw
in
that. I was
H.
going to ask you. It's like, why are you
Yeah,
getting an MBA? But I mean, it's impressive as hell that you're doing that.
it's hard as hell. Like
Yeah.
going back to academic studies is after like what 16 years of not knowing how to write a bibliography
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
reference.
rough. Full-time gig, full-time job, plus getting your MBA. I mean, I was impressed. My wife was bored last year or year before last. I think it was last year. And she started talking about going back to get an MBA. And I was just
Did
like,
she?
no, thank God. I think she was just getting bored at work. And then luckily things started happening at work. So I guess she doesn't feel like she needs to anymore. But I was like, I don't know what she was going to do with it, once she just wanted just to go back to school, I think.
Mhm.
So what do you plan on doing with your MBA, or do you just want to have it in your back pocket in case you need it?
Well, I think, a lot of creative people are good with doing creative work and, but at a certain point, you need some leadership skill sets and,
Yeah.
having an MBA. It's very expensive therapy right now. That's what I tell everyone. You're like, how's it going? Like, it's a lot of like, learning about yourself, what your leadership skill sets are. And yeah, so like, right, it's just my first year. I have hopefully another year left. I was going to finish all my modules this year, but because of COVID, yeah, it's just a lot of self-discovery right now. And is it a lot of people that finish their MBA don't continue their current job, they
Right.
find a higher calling. So
Well, that's
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, but it is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like you need to do some accounting. That's like law, like a law exam, and you have to write pages of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, see,
yeah. And top, yeah. I was like, what was I thinking? I'm always the last minute kind of person. So it's like I have a paper due like in a week, 30 pages.
oh
Every night I'd be like,
God. Yeah,
like the
I can't even imagine. So when will you have it? When do you complete it?
I have so this year I was supposed to finish all my modules. So there was one in Asia in March, and one in Berlin, and one in New York and Berkeley. But because of COVID, we couldn't travel. So next year I'm hoping to finish all the modules, and then I have to defend my thesis.
What's your thesis?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Like that's like so like a year and a half away. I'm like I'll just think about it
Okay.
as yeah. I don't know yet.
So
Keeps
when you go to
changing.
these places, what do you do when you go to all these places, like to do your
Well,
modules?
it's like a 9 a.m. start. It's like a 2 week intensive. So it's like a 2 week very intensive packed course. And you meet all your friends from all around the world. So we have a lot of Brazilians, we have an Ecuadorian, we have someone from Lithuania, from Finland, Colombia, a couple of people from Colombia, even from South Africa, and
Wow.
yeah. So we just hang out and we chat about stuff. We get to know each other, and everyone's from different industries. There's a lady from Brazil who works in fragrance industry, so
Really?
she makes fragrances for like your P&Gs and your
Oh, wow.
Unilever. So it's super interesting. Yeah. It's very intense. It's like 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And then you kind of have to study a little bit because you might have an exam the next day. And I can't do the club scene in Berlin, but the South Americans, man, they can go. They are like they're like partying to like I don't know 4 or 5 a.m. and then going to
Oh,
class the next day. I'm too old for this.
no. I think I was able to pull that off when I was 22, 23.
Mm,
I could go out and party till 4 and be at work at 6 a.m. or something before I started shooting full time. And I had
right.
some like mindless job that wasn't a big deal, but yeah, there's no way. That's
Yeah.
impressive if you can do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm always like, wait, they went out last time. I'm always like FOMO as well. Like, where did they go? And like, why did they call us? Like, we're in bed. We're in bed at like 10 o'clock. Also, there's a jet lag as well. So when you get there,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's trying to get over the jet lag, trying to get back in the mindset of studying and sitting in the classroom. It's very interactive. It's not, you're learning so many new things. So it's still like a lot. Yeah.
Can you sleep on a plane like when you're going like on a red eye or if you're going overseas or something like that?
Only if it's a business class flight for work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, on coach, I'm glad I'm small, so I can kind of, yeah,
Well, that
still,
part's good.
yeah. But the flight is only like so it's 6 hours, so it's not a lot of time to like settle down,
Yeah.
and take a nap. Yeah. No, I can't. So I try to go like a couple of days earlier just to get over the jet lag. Yeah.
That's smart.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can sleep. I literally can sleep on a plane if I don't have to sleep. So if it's one of those, so if it's not a red eye or something, if I'm just flying, say, to LA, I can fall
Hmm.
asleep almost immediately. But if it's a red eye or I'm flying, like I flew to Budapest and I knew I needed to sleep. If I know I need to sleep, I cannot sleep. I will not fall asleep. I'll stay awake the whole entire time until maybe the last hour, and then I'll like fall asleep. Then I'll fall asleep.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too. I think in your mind you're kind of like you have to sleep. You kind of stress yourself out to
Yeah.
sleep, right? Pressure
Kind of like
yourself
if I
to
have a
sleep.
4 a.m. flight or a 6 a.m. flight and I have to get up at 4 a.m. or something, I will go to bed at 9:30, and I will literally lay in bed and stay awake till about midnight. And then finally, I think I go to sleep. It's terrible. So how'd you end up in advertising? I mean, so you go to school, I'm assuming you graduate with your degree, and then
Mhm.
what happens after that?
So I did my last year in Australia. So when I came back, I just went on a lot of interviews. I did 3 interviews a day from like
Wow.
this tiny toy shop. Like I was so dressed up. The guy was like, yeah, I don't Yeah, my mom was like, you're not doing, you should go for more interviews. I'm like, Mom, I'm going for 3 a day. Like,
That's,
I
yeah,
can't.
3 days a lot.
Yeah, that's when her tiger mom comes out. My mom. And how did I get so I got an interview at Saatchi and Saatchi in Malaysia. They couldn't hire me for some reason, but the head of design really liked my work and sent my book out to like 10 other people.
Oh,
So I
wow. That's
kept
nice.
getting, yeah, she was so nice. Her name is Gigi. I think she's like she heads up TBWA in Asia now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's so nice. And so yeah, I started getting a lot of calls, and finally BBDO called me, my boss Ronald. And oh no, I got a job at Dentsu. Yeah, I got a job at Dentsu, and I wanted to be a writer, but of course my book was a design book, and they gave me like a hybrid book, like copywriter and design. They hired me, and then I got calls from other agencies. So I left to join BBDO, but I was like crying as I left.
Really?
This is my first job for a couple of months, and like everyone's so kind.
I was saying, are
Yeah.
you crying because you were going to miss the people, or are you crying because you only stayed at the job for a couple of months and you're thinking
No,
that's not
I'm
worth
gonna
it?
miss people. And I think in Malaysia you kind of develop such a close friendship with people you work with. It's very different in New York. You're like a family because it's a smaller, agency. You're very
Right.
close knit. Yeah. Yeah. So then I joined BBDO Malaysia. At that time, Ronald Ng, he's now a CCO at, where is he? Isobar. Yeah, he was building his own team, and he hired, everyone was new. He knew everybody, but he hired, everyone from his old agencies to build a new agency. And yeah, he hired me, and everyone was so kind and so nice. So we all worked together as a dream team. Yeah, it was very good start, very good foundation.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, because a lot of
Yeah,
times you can get in and not be so great, especially if you're the new kid in the group.
yeah, yeah.
So at what point did you end up moving? Because you were in, what I
I went to
saw at least,
Singapore.
yeah, yeah. So you were in
Yeah.
Singapore at that point?
Yeah, so I won the Young Creative in Malaysia. So they have an advertising award show called the Kanchils, where they award like the first year, someone who's been in industry for their first year, like a Young Creative award. So I won that.
Is that something
And
you enter yourself, or does the agency put you up for that, or how's that
oh,
work?
the agency, yeah. So they submit all the awards, they put your name, so all the awards you worked on. And I was just so lucky that I was on all the work because I was the youngest and I did everybody's, grunt work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're like bringing them coffee. No, no, no. But I just helped out on everything. So, and they were so kind. They put my name on the work. But I worked my ass off. Just yeah,
Well, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and I got the Young Creative Award. BBDO also has a very close knit community around the world. So we have they call it workouts. It's like a brainstorming workshop with people from other countries. So like in Thailand or Singapore or Vietnam, we all get together for like a very intense brainstorming session. That's when I met a lot of other creators from around Asia. That's when I was gonna move to JWT Singapore, but my boss was like, "No, we don't want to lose you. So just pick wherever you want to go in Asia."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. He was so kind. I think they kind of valued what I was doing at BBDO. I wanted to go to Thailand because that's where they were doing really really good work with the legendary ECD Suti, but you probably need to speak Thai,
Yeah.
and there's another thing to learn. Yeah, so so I didn't pick Thailand. Same with Philippines as well. You probably have to learn Tagalog. So I was like, probably not Philippines. So I picked Singapore, which is the closest to Malaysia. It's like a 40-minute flight.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good. 40 minutes. That's
yeah,
not too far to move.
yeah. And they speak English. It's Malaysia. Singapore is part of Malaysia, like back in the day. So it's
Oh,
pretty much the same. Yeah, easy transition.
okay. So you're
Hmm.
talking about different languages. What's your first language?
English,
English?
Malaysian English,
Malaysian
Manglish.
English?
Yeah, they have Spanglish, right? We have Manglish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good. I mean, it probably makes it easy, I guess. We can go just about anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, but the pronunciation and all is different. And uh, Malaysia was a Commonwealth country, so we speak British English. So when I
Okay.
moved to New York, it was I had to change some of my terms. Yeah,
Yeah. So saying you're going to the
yeah,
water closet, I'm going to the bathroom.
yeah, yeah. The bathroom, the toilet, yeah.
Yeah.
The loo. We would say I want to go to the loo.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
we're
yeah,
like
yeah.
the loo. Yeah,
Taking out the rubbish.
yeah, yeah. I was like, "Where's the rubbish bin?" And then my
Yeah.
my my, my roommate was like, "Oh,
Rubbish.
trash can." Yeah, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
have a garden? Because my dad has friends, and they live just out about 3 hours outside of London, and they always go, "I'm going to go work out in the garden," and they're just going into their backyard. So it took me, and then I was like, "Garden? Does everybody here have a garden?" And I looked, and I was over there with them, and I looked, "Oh, they have this their backyard. Okay, I get it."
In your
Yes.
head, it's like lush and floral and
Oh
like
yeah, theirs is
manicure.
much nicer. Yeah, yeah. You look at all that and go, oh, okay. But now we moved into a house 3 years ago where the people before us had all these kinds of. They have a garden in the back of all these flowers, and my wife loved it. It's part of the reason we bought the house because she loved all that. And I looked down, and was like, if I was single, that would all get cut down. It would turn into grass.
Yeah,
But she loves it. She goes out there and she's putting out mulch and playing with the flowers and all that kind of stuff. But
it's a commitment, all right.
oh yeah, yeah, and we have I hate cutting hedges, and I have to cut the hedges, and yeah, I'm wasn't thrilled about
Why?
it, but makes her happy. So,
Yeah.
so how long were you in Singapore before you
Uh,
moved to New York?
just a couple of years. So I was very fortunate when I moved to Singapore. My then boss Danny Searle, he was the CCO of Singapore. He was looking for a creative partner, and I became his creative partner. Even though our level is he's like here, I'm like here.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was so everyone again was so kind. They never made me feel like I wasn't part of the team. And every meeting that my boss was in, they brought me in and they really helped me. Like it was a really, really good team. Like the account people, the strategy planning department, they were all like, oh, Pebble's Danny's credit partner. Of course she should be in here. And I picked up really quickly, and yeah, just was like jumping in the deep end.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
Uh,
he brought you over to did he bring you to New York, or did he just say,
no, no. Yeah. And I was, because he was running a lot of regional work for like Gillette and also Unilever stuff. So I was by default doing that with him. So like I was doing Gillette for Asia, and my boss in New York was looking to hire a global team. So he met me and Danny at a workout in Tokyo, and he was like, "Okay, I want Pebble in my team." So, and I was the first female creative to present work in Asia for Gillette.
Really?
Yeah, it was so funny. The account team was like, "Oh, Pebble, today's a historic day. You're the first woman creative to present work." I was like,
That's
"Oh,
impressive.
yeah."
Was it
Just one.
was that intense? Like when you went and did you know that ahead of time?
I
Or did they
remember
tell you
now.
after you did it that you were the first woman to do it?
I think maybe after, but I again my boss Danny, he just puts everyone at ease. Yeah, I don't get like the jitters because I just see he probably he presents first and then it's my turn, and
Right.
he's Australian. Everything is like no worries, they're so like, which is actually, thank goodness he wasn't like a tense boss or anything. Yeah. Um so yeah, it was fine. Like I didn't know, and I was like, oh great, maybe this will pave the way for more female creatives.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
if the Gillette people would be like, "Whoa, what's this woman doing presenting to us?" Or if it all just seemed like any other presentation that you've done. So that's very cool. So at what point do you end up? So that's he says he wants Pebble. So now you move to New York. How long
Mhm.
ago was that?
10 years ago.
10 years.
Yeah, so I worked in the US office more than I've worked in Asia. It's four
Wow.
years in Malaysia, 2 years in Singapore, and then 10 years in New York.
So how'd your title change as you started off going up?
In Malaysia, I was graphic designer, and then I became an art director. Then when I moved to Singapore, I was still an art director. It was weird because Danny did ask if I wanted a title change, but at that time I was like, doesn't matter to me, like titles, I just want to do the work.
Right.
And then I moved to New York as I think a senior art director. Yeah. But in hindsight, I should have gotten a title before I left because I
Right.
didn't realize titles matter here so much.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah. But that was fine. Like, so I be senior art director and then ACD and then a creative director 6 years ago. Yeah. Because at that time I was running Johnson's Baby with my former boss in Asia, Danny, because it was
Oh,
a
wow.
global account. Yeah. So he
Yeah.
needed, yeah, just serendipity. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted you to talk about that because I saw that you had the Johnson's Baby, the global brand relaunch thing. How was all that work? Because that's a pretty big deal, I would think, a global
Yeah.
relaunch.
So I was asked to go on a workout again in London where you have people all around the globe coming in to, rethink this Johnson's rebrand. And just so happened one of the other creators couldn't make it because she just had a baby and they invited me to go. And just so happened Danny was also doing the workout. And I think I impressed the clients and people there and they were like, oh, there's this new job opening. Like, do you want it? I'm like, sure. And yeah, we had a great team. Again, it was a lean team. We all worked so well together. The planner, the account director, the account lead, and Danny. Yeah, it was like six of us, and we was like building a plane and flying it at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It
How long
was
did it take to
good.
put all that together?
I think 6 months, right? I can't remember. It's been so
Wow.
long. Yeah, I think 6 months, and we shot the commercial in Vancouver. Yeah.
That's impressive. Six
Yeah.
months. Was there a lot of
Yeah.
back and forth with Johnson um,
Yeah.
with the brand and all that? Because I could see, I mean, my wife runs a company. Well, she's the COO of her company, and they were rebranding, and they're small, and it was a nightmare with the agency they worked with, just trying to get it right. But it was really a very small agency who didn't really do a lot of the work they needed to do. So I was just wondering, when it's on a bigger scale, like with you guys, how
Mhm.
much back and forth is that? Do you guys really get into it? Do you pretty much know? I mean, is it maybe the second, third time you present, like, here's our ideas, they go, yeah, that's it, this is wonderful, kind of a thing? Or does it take more than that, or is it faster than that?
I think more than that, and you have to present it, globally. So it was like for 7 different markets. So to present it to the Brazilian clients, to the Indian clients. Yeah. So it's like a conference call with all the clients, all the stakeholders from all the different countries on the phone, and you
Oh,
present it
wow.
to everybody. Yeah. So you have to get like a sign off from each region.
Okay. See, I would just
Yeah.
imagine it was like one thing. There was one group of people there who were approving it all for the whole world. I didn't know it was multiple things like that.
Yeah. Multiple. And because, when you have a good idea that every region can buy into it, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so it's like a universal truth, right? So that was what they were benchmarking the work against.
Who handles making sure that the translation is proper and you don't end up saying something about the baby brand that makes it sound like
Oh,
this is going to kill your baby? Because I've
yeah, we
heard of
have.
like car companies coming up with names of cars, and then you go down into Brazil or someplace and go, yeah, that means this is a piece of crap. I'm not buying that
Yeah.
car.
Well, that's why we have all the clients from different countries. So
Uh,
we would shoot the film and then the voiceover would be transcreated. It's not translated, it's transcreated. So it's not a
Okay.
direct, yeah, it's transcreated to their own markets.
So they can tweak it however they need to tweak it.
Yeah.
Basically keep the overall feel and context, but just tweak it to how it needs to be for every country.
Yeah,
God, that's
exactly.
got to be a lot of pressure, I
Yeah.
would think.
I mean, also filming all the different babies, the ethnicity, and making sure they look like the baby that's from the country that you're gonna air your ad in. Yeah, it's
God,
like I looked at 200 babies for casting.
really?
Yeah.
God. Okay, tell me about being on set for that, because how many days did that take? How psychotic was it with all the babies? Because I've been on a few sets where we've had, we have the main kid, then we have the backup kids or whatever. And
Yes.
I'm doing like literally 2 kids in a day with the backup. So I can't even imagine. So I want to hear about that part of the shoot.
I think we had 14 babies, so it was for 7 different countries. So the main baby and a backup baby, and because they're infants, they can only work for 20 minutes at a time because of the labor law.
Yeah.
So, and we had this slow motion break that is like, I think we're shooting 500 frames per second.
Good God.
So yeah, and we were trying to make the baby react to the bath. It was a baby in the bath, and you could hear, and because it's 500 frames per second, you have to reload quite often. You know, and we could hear like the I think it's the first AD like counting down like how much time you have left on the digital whatever file.
Yeah.
And we were trying to make the baby smile so we could hear it 10. It was like watching a horse race. Like 10, 9, 8. And it was like, she's gonna smile, keep rolling. And then we're out. Yeah. And we have like a nurse on set, like a baby nurse teaching the moms how to, you know, bathe the baby, making sure when you touch the baby's feet, it will like, you know, spread out, and how to make the baby smile. The babies were good because it was so young. They didn't know what was happening, but they wouldn't look in the camera because they were looking everywhere. But you wanted to look down the barrel of the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah. The director was like, "Oh my God, I never worked so hard in my life."
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because I've had them I've never had like I've had babies, but it wasn't important for them to look into the lens when I was shooting. And I've had older ones where you have a kid wrangler there, and the kid's looking at the kid wrangler, and you're like, okay, I need you to get down. But then she's got to get right down on top of me, and all I'm thinking is, okay, this is a little too tight and close for me. So I can't even imagine having all those little babies. Did you plan it around their nap times and that kind of thing, nap schedules? Because I know that, and feeding, because I know that can be horrible.
Yeah, they probably they probably did like a whole schedule going, you know, and like swap out the babies, and then we had to shoot stills as well in another tent. So they would like swap out the babies. Like I think it was like today we did stills, and then next day, and like taking turns. Yeah.
Were you matching lighting between the stills and the motion, so it was all the same feel, or was it totally different looks?
Totally different looks. Yeah.
All
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, totally different photographer. Yeah, totally different look and feel because there's so many assets we needed to shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because the main film was a slow motion capture, so that wouldn't translate in still. Yeah.
I can see that.
And the still needed to, you know, work harder. We saw the mom, we saw, you know, the product, and yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about, you said it was not the same photographer or director. How often are you using the same photographer or director to do both motion and still? Is that happening a lot, or is it one of those where you hire the still photographer, and then if you need motion, either you hire somebody totally different, or you have the photographer hire a AD or, you know, or a DP, I mean, or something like that?
I'm trying to think. Mostly it's been different because it's just too much for the director to do both. Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I feel like I had one shoot that we did both, but I can't recall now. Yeah, I think it's just getting everyone to respect each other's spaces, right? And if you want the same lighting and set, I really can't remember. I'm pretty sure we had someone do both. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can see it being tough though, because I've had some where I shoot right after the motion guys shoot. I come in and just shoot my stuff. And I've had others where we literally set my lighting up to match the motion guys' lighting. And so as soon as the actors finished over there, while motion's changing or setting up for their next one or shooting a different group of people, they come over and we shoot them over on our side. So everything, the stills all match the video portion, all that kind of stuff. And then occasionally I've had some where I do both the still and the motion, but it's usually on smaller, lower budget shoots where they don't want to have to pay for all that kind of stuff. So I can see that.
Yeah. I feel like I had one shoot that was a photographer, the same photographer and director, but oftentimes you would ask, you know, the photographer if you can shoot video too, because usually that would be for like more like digital assets, not like a TV commercial. So I think now more and more we would need to do that, you know, like photography and then digital capture for videos for your online social assets.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that
But I
becoming a
have,
huge thing for you guys, like the social part of it? Are you shooting a lot of, like, 5-second, 15-second stuff for social?
yeah, I think, every brief we get, we have to make sure that we can use like for the first 5 seconds or the 6 second, depending on what the media buy is. Yeah.
Right.
But also the clients I work on are blue chip clients, so they have their own digital agency. So usually
Oh,
we will
that's
have a
good.
separate shoot for, like, the digital agency will handle that.
Right.
So like for Johnson's Baby, Vayner Media was their digital agency. So they might have I think they did their own thing. Like they had to do like a longer format, like how to bathe a baby sort of situation where they teach you step by step. So they
Okay.
would shoot that, yeah. So we would do the bigger pieces,
Right. So then
yeah.
Vayner basically, they're handling the social media aspect of it, and then you guys were handling like the bigger, like more the TV commercial kind of
Yeah,
part of it.
yes.
All right.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and they would send stuff for us to oversee to make sure it kind of looks good and it's still in the
Same
same
branding and
vein.
all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing worse, I think, than having a company and you've seen like multiple things and the branding just doesn't gel. As you can tell, it's done by different agencies and they didn't talk to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think now you don't really need matching luggage because there's so many different media spaces. As long as your message is singular, it can look different, because sometimes just too much makes like it's fatigue. You don't want to keep
Yeah, I
seeing
can
the
see
same
that.
thing. Yeah, so I think we're all still trying to figure out how to toggle between what should look the same versus what should be different. And yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially with the way
Mm.
everybody's getting bombarded with everything now. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, do you have any idea how, when I talk about the fact that I hate those Canon lens coffee mugs to my assistant, that I end up getting an ad for it on my phone that night without ever searching for it anyplace? Do you have any idea how that happens? Is it my phone listening to me, or are they really okay? Because I saw some guy go, well, your phone's not listening to you. It's just looking at your algorithms. I'm like, okay, I've never looked up a coffee mug, definitely never looked up a Canon lens coffee mug, and I still get an ad for it the next day. So
Listening to you because your microphone is on.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's a
Well,
little.
did you watch what was it called, Social Dilemma?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that. That was interesting. It made me want to
Yeah.
just not do anything. Like, keep it off. I can't. The worst thing is, like, if I'm at home, I have to go now either turn my Wi-Fi off or go into private mode if I want to look something up that I want to buy for my wife for a gift later, because she'll get an ad for it on Instagram that night if I don't. Because I was looking up something one time and she goes, she got an ad for something she knew she wanted. And she goes, wow, I got an ad for this. I'm like, that's because I was just looking it up on
Right.
Google the other day, trying to find if I could find one for you.
So you told her.
No, I didn't. I was like, I don't
Uh,
know. But then later when I gave it to her, I was like, okay, that's the
uh,
reason you got that ad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, even like when I'm just talking out loud to my husband, now we have two pets. He gets served like the stupidest thing I talked about. I said, oh, we should get this paw cleaner for the dog. and then
Yeah.
and then the next day he's like, I got paw cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking
Yes.
about, my wife was buying a lot of that high pH water at one point. And
Mm.
I told her, I said, like, it's been like 2 years, a year, probably a year and a half earlier. I said, I saw online about a year ago that if you use lemon juice, it increases the pH in your water, and you can just use lemon juice for the pH. That night, she had an ad on her phone for pH or lemon juice or something like that on her phone, and neither one of us ever looked it up. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, but that's our job though, to sell
Yeah,
you
oh, I
stuff.
know. It's good.
We
I just
knew
want
about this.
confirmation on it that
Yeah.
my
No,
phone's
I mean,
actually.
I'm not a data, a data scientist, or yeah, we don't do we just do the ads. We don't,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I don't collect your data. They were just like, oh, let's just do this ad for this thing. I'm like, okay. I don't like go deep into how, what are you
Right.
listening? Yeah. But I do have friends who work in like that. They told me like every second of the day you are being sold. your attention is being sold, and it was so interesting.
Yeah, I heard that was a big issue with was it TikTok? The whole thing with TikTok and their algorithms, and it was basically the social distancing kind of deal. They were talking about TikTok doing it, and that's why they were trying to sell it to U.S. companies because they have to report everything back to China on top of that, and they collect everything about you. But I don't know how you're going to use the fact that I stop and look at longer at the shot. The TikTok of my daughter is longer than I look at the TikTok of some. My wife sends me ones of an astrologer, some astrologist who's been predicting every single thing that's happened in the election down to every bit of it. She has predicted ahead of time. Yeah, it's a trip. She looks like a stripper. I don't know. I'll find it.
You should send it to me. You should send it to me.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll find out who she is. But she's predicted all of it. She's like, I see Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has a huge spike here, and Biden has a spike here, which means they're going to lose. They're going to win the election, but it's going to drag out for a month or two because Trump's not going to concede. And this was all like 2 weeks before the election, or something like that. And then everything she's predicted after that, she said something about on Halloween or the day before Halloween, there was going to be some big disturbance in the world, and she could see like an earthquake or something. And I think somewhere there was a tsunami. Like that day or something happened. So it's kind of freaky.
It's the new Nostradamus.
Yeah. But she looks like a stripper. But yeah, I'll send it to you.
You should have her on your podcast.
I should. I need to look her up and see if she wants to do it. That would be interesting to have her on here and talk about that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I saw this Snickers ad that you did a while ago. It's all this hair.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, where did the idea for the hair come from? Like, have this dude have 14 feet of hair, and then who decided it needed to be a guy as opposed to a woman? Those are the two things that came to my head. It's like, first of all, that's the longest hair I've ever seen. Who came up with that? And then next, I love the fact that it was a guy. Who decided that this should be a guy and not some woman?
This was done
because it's been a while. That's an old ad.
16 years ago. Can't remember who exactly. Probably not me. We were, because after work we would go to to have supper in like a hawker center, and brainstorm for ideas. So it's probably one of the creative directors that came up with it. At that time, Snickers was marketed to active men, it was like more skater. Before if you're hungry, when you're hungry, it's more, it's like Snickers is like a power bar. It gives you energy. So it's more like active, for people like skating or the younger group, so that's why it was never about a woman.
Okay.
But now we would probably rethink it, some of the stuff that I've done.
Because...
Yeah, some of the stuff I've done, like, oh man, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So not PC.
That's interesting. Yeah. And if we had phones like we do now 20 years ago, I would say that you guys heard my father and ripped off the whole Snickers ad from him, because my wife, when she had not eaten, she would get very moody. And my dad would be like, you need to keep a Snickers in your pocket and feed her when she gets angry like that. Because when that'll feed her and she'll calm down. And she literally would. She would eat and calm down. And he was constantly saying, you got Snickers in your pocket? You need a Snickers in your pocket. And then I saw that ad and I was like, that's what my dad said 20 years ago or whenever it was. And I was like, and so I sent him the ad immediately. I was like, hey, look, they took your idea.
Was he amused? Was he like?
Oh yeah, he loved it. He thought it was great. Now my daughter, years ago, my youngest, she was in kindergarten and they had to come up with an invention, kindergarten or first grade, and they had to come up with some invention. And her invention was to have drones deliver your packages to your door. And then when Amazon announced that they were going to have drones delivering packages, she got mad.
They stole my idea.
Yeah, she was little and she got mad. She's like, they took my idea. And I was like, well, to be fair, you never actually moved on it. So
yeah. Well, now she knows. She should move on.
It was
quickly.
A good idea. She needs to move on stuff from now on.
Yeah.
What are your duties as VP creative? What's the difference between creative director, VP creative director, first of all?
I think you get a $70 gym membership.
Oh, cool. Well, that's totally worth it.
Now we don't need that now for COVID. We're not going to the gym. uh I don't know, like I think it's just a dinner time.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I'll
I
say,
always ask that
is it just like
question.
an extra thing on your title, or do you actually get extra little bonus money or something?
No, just
Gym
again,
membership for it?
just your gym membership.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What else
Well,
do we get? I think that's it that I can remember. Yeah, I think different places have different, yeah, like,
do you ever walk around to the
perks.
creative directors and if they say something, I'm the VP, that was we're not doing that. So for
No.
people who don't know, tell them a little bit about what's the responsibility of being a creative director, just in general.
You have your own teams, and you get briefed, and then you brief your teams and you try to make their work better. So elevate their work and still make it feel like it's their work.
Right.
It's just more like, and also talking to the clients, presenting work to the clients. So it's like you have to manage up and down. So that's
Okay.
probably, yeah.
How much control do you have over, say, the artwork that's presented to the client or the photographers or directors that are presented to the client as CD? Is that ultimately your call? Do you take all the info from your art directors and producers and then make the decision on what are the final three or whoever you're going to present? Is that your call on that?
Yeah, it depends on the account. So BBDO is working on a hybrid project management style. So I don't own, like, Macy's. I don't own the Macy's account. So
Okay.
when I did work on Johnson's, it was my call, and then we would present it to Danny, which is my CCO. He would agree or disagree, but usually he'll agree because he doesn't have time
Because
to
you're
look
good.
through. Yeah, because I'm good. Yeah. So now I'm working on some Macy's work, and the producer would send us the list of directors, or our art buyer would send us a list of photographers, and we will go through all their books or their reels and pick the top 5 or top 3, and then we discuss in a group with like the junior creatives, like the creative director, and we have senior creative directors as well. We discuss who we think best fits the brief,
Okay.
and we would then talk to the directors or photographers to brief them and get their treatment back before we decide who has the best treatment, and we proceed from there. And also,
Do you guys do a treatment on everything? Like every shoot that's coming up, do you have a treatment? Do you require a treatment?
yeah,
Ask for one?
yeah, for film we do. Photography, not so much. Probably the photographer would probably give us some idea of how he wants to shoot it. We'll brief the photographer. Yeah,
Right.
but I don't think we triple bid photography. I'm trying to recall. Yeah, we speak to a few of them and see, what they come back with. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get so much of a treatment. We will just talk to them. Yeah. But I think
Okay.
it's been a while since I shot any stills. So
So when
yeah.
you present, say, your directors is to the client, do you present like, here's the one we want to go with?
Yeah.
And do you guys like them? And then how often does the client go, no, that's not what I want? Does
The
that happen a lot?
recommend, no, I think it ultimately comes down to money,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah, if it's, too expensive, and then we would try to negotiate for the fee, and if not, then we'll go down the list. But we have, like, this is the recommended one and this is the backup. So we
Right.
always have like a backup. Yeah. But whichever 3 that we pick, it's the 3 that we'll be okay going with. You will
Right.
never pick someone that you wouldn't be comfortable working with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And lately I just did a talk in Lithuania, the digital talk, and it talked about diversity and inclusion. So we're trying hard to put some diversity in our director search and photographer search. I
How is that?
haven't.
Is that difficult? Are you looking at a sea of white dudes and then like occasionally you see a woman or a person of color or something like that? Or is it a little
um
more, or is there a bigger pool? You just don't hear as much about it.
well, because we get the list from our art buyers and our producers, I honestly, I do it blind, because sometimes the names are androgynous names.
Right.
Could be like Renee, Rene, right? It could
Yeah.
be a male or female. I really look at the book and the work, but unfortunately most of the work and the book is from male makers, right? Because
Right.
they have the breadth and depth and experience. Yeah, so try to, I guess we have to request for it. We should request for it, but yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You want to pick the best work, the best person for the job, but at the same time, you want to be cognizant of how you can help elevate more diversity in the industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I always like to pick the underdog. Depends on the stakes, how high the stakes are. So, and it's really sad to say I'm not shot with any female photographer or film director
Oh, wow.
ever. Yeah, but I have like
Ever.
female editors. Yeah, ever. My 16 years. Yeah, this is what I said in my talk as well, in for the Lithuanian digital conference. So yeah.
Have you ever had somebody that didn't have a ton of experience, but you thought they'd be really good and you pushed them and ended up getting them and it worked out well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a number of them. Like I said, I always try to pick the underdog, especially if it's something like super simple and easy, and they can do. They just need a break, because I
Right.
got that break.
Well, I think
I
that's
got that.
impressive because I think a lot of people aren't willing to take that chance on anything, no matter how small
Yeah.
it is. I think they're so
Yeah.
afraid that they're going to screw up and get fired for the one time they went outside the box or whatever, that, when you do that, I think it's an impressive thing to
Yeah.
do. And it's good, especially for, somebody who hasn't had the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah. But selling it upwards will be harder, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can go to bat for this person, and yeah, depending on whether the clients or your bosses are comfortable with it. Yeah. But again, I got that same opportunity, so I want to give that opportunity to someone else.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Mm.
Tell me about one of your favorite shoots that you've ever done, whether it was location wise or just the shoot itself was fun to work on, something like that.
Went to South Africa for my Dove shoot, Dove ice cream. That was
Oh,
really fun. Yeah. My first time in South Africa, and we had a great film director, Anders Hallberg from Be Real, and everyone yeah, it was really fun. It was a fun commercial to shoot as well. It's like you stitch a lot of scenes together, so you kind of see it like an infinity zooming through.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I wanted all these little Easter eggs, and they accommodated each and every Easter egg I wanted to
Really?
put in. Yeah, but we never did anything with it. We were gonna we're gonna make it interactive, and then if you scroll through, you'll be able to find this little thing that says summer fun all year long. So we had like a T-shirt made that said summer, and then we had balloons that said fun, and yeah, it was really interesting to be in a different country, in South Africa for the first time. No, I've been to Egypt. It's not really it's part of Africa, but my first real, and I saw some penguins. The client wanted to go see penguins, so we went to see penguins in the wild.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I want
Yeah.
a penguin as a pet. I want
But you
it.
can't live in North Carolina.
Yeah, I know. But I want one that so when you ring the doorbell, he can walk up and hit a button and the door opens and the penguin's just standing there like a little butler.
That's cute.
And then just turns around and walks
Sign
back.
your packages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just text on the packages or signs it or
Yeah.
whatever. I wanted that for probably 40 years, 30 years. Forever. I don't know why. I heard like back in, I don't know, late 70s or something, that my cousin had a penguin, was the rumor that he had a pet penguin. He didn't, but I'm pretty sure he didn't. But
It's
that was the
believable
rumor.
though.
Yeah, well, he was at the time. He was in. He's the cowboy from the Village People, the original.
No.
Yeah, yeah. So they were making a lot of money in touring at the time, and the rumor was, oh, he has a pet penguin.
What?
Yeah. So
Crazy.
yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah. He lives probably not too far from you. He lives in Manhattan. He lives down the East Village at Second and somewhere down in there. Yeah.
Did you see the SNL?
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
so
and I
good.
don't understand because Trump's coming out to playing Macho Man and YMCA, and if you really listen to the lyrics of either one of those songs, you're like, okay, this is not hitting where your bass would. If they really understood these songs, they would not be happy with you. But
You don't
whatever.
even have, you just watch the video and you just
Yeah.
see, you know, yeah.
Well,
It's just,
the lyrics, part of the lyrics from Macho Man are body, body, want to feel my body, want to touch my body. And then it goes into Macho, Macho Man. And
oh
I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, so,
If that's what you want to do.
right.
Did you get to hang out in South Africa?
I think
Or
we
was
just
it
had
literally
like
go in, shoot, and get out?
I think go in, shoot, and get out. I think it was like one down day. It takes so long to get there, almost 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was shoot and get out. But we shot in like one of the scenes was in a beach, so we managed to go to the beach, but just for the shoot. It's
Right.
still nice out. It was pretty. Then we shot in another like a hillside, so it was like seeing different sceneries. Yeah,
So you got to see
yeah,
things, but
yeah. We got to see things.
while
Yeah,
you
I
were
think
working.
we probably went up to it's called Table Mountain, like the
Yeah, yeah,
famous
yeah.
mountain. Yeah, probably went up. We went up there for like a couple of hours, and one morning we were free.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But usually it's just sitting in your hotel room, getting on calls, doing your presentation decks, going, yeah, casting. Yeah, it's not as glamorous
Oh,
as
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
had one student before. She was like, I asked her like, why does she want to be in advertising? She said because it's glamorous. I'm like, honey, you don't know.
Yeah. My wife, let's see, she came with me on a trip I did one of my very first location shoots. It was like 5 days, and she came for 2 days of it. And it was basically everything was being shot in South Beach on the beach. And she came and she had fun and it was cool. She came down ahead of time and she enjoyed
Mhm.
it. It wasn't one of these like real tight, tough, stressful shoots. So when I had a shoot a couple of years later, we were going to be down in we're going to be down in the Keys. So we were doing a day or two in South Beach. Then we are going to go down into the Keys and shoot for a few days. She came on that shoot and she'll never come on another shoot again. She's like, this is ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, I told you could go hang out on the beach if you wanted to, but she likes to be on the shoot. She's very detail oriented. So she'll watch, like when she first got on the shoot, she ticked off the stylist because she
Oh
was
no.
constantly, it was like her first shoot she'd really been on,
Mhm.
other than that other smaller one. And so she was going up and like fixing stuff. And I was like, you can't do that. The stylist was like getting mad. So you can tell me, I'll tell the stylist. My wife is very type A.
Mhm.
So I told this, but by the end of that day, the stylist was saying, going up to my wife, going, will you watch this? I have to go down and talk to my assistant and get something ready for the next shot. Will you watch this for me? So then my wife's all of a sudden this assistant to the stylist taking care of stuff. But it was one of those get up and be shooting, around sunrise, shoot all
Mhm.
day, take a shower, and go have dinner, come back to bed. And she was like, I'm not doing this again. So the next time I went down to the Keys, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go down to the Keys for another shoot. You want to come with me? She's like, nope, I'm not
Yeah.
going, I'm not doing it. So yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, it's so glamorous. You get to go to South Africa or you get to go to the Keys. And yeah, it's not as wonderful as you think.
Yeah. On the way to South Africa, I was looking at, all the talent like casting.
Yeah.
So the whole night I was up just looking at casting. So when you land, you have your selects. Yeah. And the time difference and yeah, it's but I'm not it's we sign up for this, so there's
Yeah.
downtimes and
It's
there
still a
is like
cool job. It's still a better
yeah.
job than working at the bank,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep,
and
that's
working
true.
behind a desk and
Yeah.
all that kind of
Right
stuff.
now we're all behind the desk,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
highest
Yeah.
level. Yeah. Not for you because you're out shooting, but for us we're
I'm
just
still not
looking
even
at
shooting
it.
that much. I mean, I went 4.5 months without shooting anything. I shot some stuff for myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I literally went 4.5 months without doing a shoot where I got paid, which was the first time I'd gone that long without working since I was probably 15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it's picking up and it's
That's good.
getting better, a little more normal, but still not at the same level it was last year
Right.
at this time. But
Do
I'm
you
just
think
happy
it's
something.
because the COVID restrictions are lifted a little bit, so people are okay with shooting
Yeah, I
in
think so.
person?
It seems like, and then even it's weird, the sets are different. Like some sets you go on, and it's like major COVID restrictions,
Hmm.
stay 6 feet apart, wear your mask, get temperature checked, all that kind of stuff. I had one, I did a behind the scenes shoot with Kamala Harris where they were shooting a video thing, and that was get rapid tested literally the night before the shoot, get your temperature checked there. Everybody has to wear a mask the entire time. And then I do some where nobody's wearing a mask. You know,
Right. Well, it's Kamala Harris, so you probably need
well, yeah,
to.
with her, she didn't. We even for the portrait shoot, she didn't take her mask
Yeah.
off. She kept the mask on
Yeah.
because there were so many people in this small area for
Yeah.
that video shoot that when I had to do my portrait was in the same area, and like nobody took a mask off the entire time
Yeah.
because there were
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, 15 to 20 people in this one, area. So it was a
Hmm.
ton of people in a little spot.
Hmm.
But luckily, I've had a couple of sets where people have ended up having COVID later, or we found out that they had it while they're on set, but
Hmm.
they caught it someplace else and nobody on any of my sets has gotten it. So
That's good. Good.
that part's
Yeah.
been good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm happy about
Mm.
that. So with all the traveling you do, where is the best place to go on vacation?
Lake Como.
Like, my dad says that. I've never been there. It's on my list of places to go, but yeah, I've not been there. What makes it so
Yeah.
wonderful other than just the lake? The fact that it's in Italy?
I, yeah, and also, I mean, we stayed in a really nice hotel. So my friend was getting married, so it was just a cool experience. There was a pool on top of the like in the lake. Swimming pool was in the lake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and you wake up and you see the lake from your room, and maybe because it was a wedding, so it was really fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
so
see
we had
that.
wedding stuff to do for like 3 days. So we went to an island for breakfast. We got on a boat ride. We had like a white party. Just it was just filled with activities. So that's why I said Lake Como.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's great. My dad loves it. I have a model friend, who she got married there,
Hmm.
and she said even in the town they put up a big sign going, "Hey, this couple is getting married. If anybody has anything to say about it, let us
Oh,
know."
really?
Yeah, and but they literally eloped there, so there was nobody who even knew who they were.
Oh,
Yeah, but they got a killer video out of it too that she put up on her on Instagram. I mean, the video is unbelievable, and they videoed this thing from the morning until I don't know, it looked like 9, 10 o'clock at night or more.
right.
I mean, they videoed the
Wow.
entire day. It was, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not a
So
big.
much
I
work.
used to shoot weddings when I first started out, and I'm not a big wedding fan of
Yeah.
shooting weddings. Anyway,
Yeah. A lot of photographers start out shooting weddings.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I started shooting when I was 16, but okay, last question for you. What's the strangest thing, most interesting thing that's ever happened to you in this whole world of advertising?
Hmm. How I managed to get from Malaysia to New York in 3 steps. I
Yeah,
never thought the 18-year-old me, yeah, I would never thought be sitting here right now in New York City talking to you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I can see that.
so
That's huge.
yeah, yeah. I think I should remind myself more of that. We always forget about our successes, or we always try to achieve more, but we should sometimes just stay still and remember how far we've come.
Yeah, that's
So yeah,
amazing.
so thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being on here and doing this. I really, really appreciate it. It's been very cool. I enjoyed it. Anybody watching, listening, like it, thumbs up it, comment on it, subscribe to it, all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you guys soon.